Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lynchburg. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs, whatever your age, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we work together for justice, compassion, and peace, we also acknowledge with humility that our buildings sit on Monacan land. My name is Courtney Senna, and I'm the Director of Lifespan Engagement at this congregation. If you're with us for the first time, we are glad you chose to be here this morning to participate in the service for this congregation we love. If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, please fill out the virtual visitor card found on our website, uulynchburg.org, under Sunday Services, or fill out the yellow card found in the back of the chair in front of you and place it in the offering basket. Last night, we had a great time at our dinner and live auction, and now I have Betty Corbin here to tell us a little more about that.
I appreciate all the help last night. I appreciate always the cleanup crew. They did an amazing job while the rest of us partied out here. So while we were small in numbers, we did pretty well. The live auction last night grossed $2,305, and the online this morning was up to about $3,180. So we're close to $5,500. So get out there this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow morning, and bid. It'd be nice to have another $1,500 on top of this number. That would pretty well get us up to our fundraising goal for the year, and that is part of our operating budget that helps pay salary staffs and keeps the lights on. So again, almost everybody in this room has contributed in so many different ways to this. The two youngsters here on the front spent a long afternoon amusing themselves and evening while parents work. So thanks to everyone.
Please join us this afternoon at 4 p.m. for the annual Interfaith Yom HaShoah Holocaust Remembrance Service. This year, the service is being held at First Christian Church on Rivermont.
And there will be childcare.
Yes, and there is childcare. Our Lynchburg Interfaith Minister Group is sponsoring a showing of Bad Faith, Christian Nationalism's Unholy War on Democracy. This will be held at 7 p.m. on Sunday, May 19th, so 2 weeks from now, and it's going to be at Quaker Memorial Presbyterian Church, which is on Ford Avenue. And we will put these two events up on our Facebook page so you can get the place and times. And there will also be childcare for that event. This is a documentary our minister group feels our members need to see. Please plan to attend. Today, Reverend Terry will talk about the amendments and edits to the UUA bylaws Article 2 changes that will be presented at General Assembly this year. We have some printed copies available, and if you are on Zoom today or want to read the document at your leisure, you will find the document also included in the Friday e-blast. Now I invite us to release our worries about the world and our own lives as we enter into the service by taking some slow, calming breaths.
Let's take a moment to say good morning to each other, our Zoomies. Zoomies, can you say good morning to the Roomies? Roomies, say hi to the Zoomies. It's wonderful to be together on the airwaves. Wonderful. Let us now join together in our chalice lighting words, which are in the cover of your bulletin. May the light we now kindle inspire us to heal and not to harm, to heal and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life. Now I invite us to rise in body or spirit to share hymn 113, Where is Our Holy Church? I'd like to invite our young people and anybody who's feeling particularly young at heart this morning to come forward. It's nice to see y'all. I'm impressed that your sister is sharing her tiger with you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Cece. Why don't you sort of explain it and then we can do our video.
Right. So we have a new friend in RE. Yes, this is our friend Jet Pig. And Jet Pig is here to tell us all about our values that we really strongly believe in as UUs. And Jet Pig got their name because they stand for justice, equity, transformation, interdependence, pluralism, and generosity. And love is at the center of all we do, and that is what powers our beloved Jet Pig as they fly all around. Yes, she is fueled by love. And on our activity table today, you will see this really amazing Jet Pig coloring book that you can try out today. You can take one home with you. And as you go through it, it tells you more about each of the values that we're going to be learning about and that Jet Pig wants to show us. And to help us learn more about our values, we have a really great song that we can learn. And David has a video for us.
What makes you a true you? Love at the core of what you do. We commit to work as a team to make our values more than a dream. Jet Big helps us keep in mind 6 values that you use have defined. Justice means we make things fair. We vote, speak up, and act with care. Equity is when everyone gets what they need for work and fun. Transformation means we change, and we can still grow at every age. What makes you a true you? Love at the core of what you do. We commit to work as a team to make our values more than a dream. Jet Big helps us keep in mind 6 values that you have defined. Pluralism is how we say we know there's not just one right way. Interdependence means we're connected, so our earth and its people are respected. Generosity is the last we can learn to share before we're asked. What makes you a true you? Love at the core of what you do. We commit to work as a team to make our values more than a dream. Jet Big helps us keep in mind 6 values that you have defined. Jet Big helps us keep in mind 6 values that you have defined.
And
Well, this is a wonderful mnemonic for adults. The kids have already learned it. So I'm going to expect you all to practice this.
And Reverend Terry has some cards for the kids to take with them
Yes.
today. And you all have one in your seat. You are welcome to take that with you. And we will keep those available in our seat back pockets for
Here you go,
anybody that's
Cece.
not here. So the front shows the flower image that we are currently using, and hopefully we'll stick with that since people have started memorizing it.
Nora?
That shows our shared UU values. And then on the back of the card, it tells more about what those values mean to us. And so today, up in RE, we're going to start on the theme of pluralism. And so we have lots of fun activities today to talk about ways that we can see things from a different perspective and that we don't all have to think and believe the same. So I think we are ready to go upstairs.
And let us sing them on their way. We take an offering of our gifts for the work of this congregation, both in this building and in the larger community. It is our tradition to share together the joys and the spirit of life and love we hold up today, those who are suffering in mind, body, or spirit, that they may find healing and wholeness. We give thanks for this community, for this wondrous part of Mother Earth on which we live. May we always remember to walk gently on the earth and to interact with all creatures with love and compassion. We remember today that this is the celebration or the remembrance of the Holocaust. As it gets farther away from that horrible event in human history, may we make sure we remember and protect those who are most vulnerable in our society and in our world. We hold up today our openness to grow and to learn. May we focus on the work that is ours to do in the world so that we can help in the transformation of human society so that we work toward the beloved community that includes all our sisters and brothers. This we ask in the name of all that is holy. Amen. Thank you, Emily. So before I begin, I want to express my gratitude for the UUA Article 2 Committee and other documents people have been writing about our changes, and I appreciated their work and words as I worked on this sermon. So sitting and Zooming here today, we don't think much about our relationships within our Unitarian Universalist Association, where we are part of an association of congregations. Our congregations choose to work together so we might accomplish more than we could do individually. The purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to devote its resources to and use its organizational powers for religious, educational, and humanitarian purposes. Its primary purposes are to assist congregations in their vital ministries, support and train leaders, both lay and professional, to foster lifelong faith formation, to heal historic injustices, and to advance our Unitarian Universalist values in the world. The purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage members in its transformation of the world through liberating love. We know that the Unitarian Universalist Association, on behalf of all UUs, has been in the process of amending the Article 2 in its bylaws. This is not the most exciting thing. Bylaws are never that exciting to talk about, but it's very important. Almost a year ago, we had a service focused on the suggested changes. Every 20 years or so, we examine Article 2 to decide if the wording in the bylaws still articulates the Unitarian Universalist faith today. The suggested changes have been adapted and, from my perspective, corrected since our earlier service in last year's General Assembly. What's really been wonderful about this whole process is that the committee and the UUA board have really sought input from all of us, and then they've listened to the feelings and suggested revisions from UUs around the world. In response, they've adapted the wording. Of course, listening to everyone makes the editing process long. In a similar vein, our board and JART committee have been processing both the word and the design of a Gaza banner that we hope to order this week. These processes take time. I'm an impatient person, so I'd like to go ahead and get it done. However, I also know that living out the democratic process is as important within our congregation as it is within our nation. Democracy is a complex, messy, and intense experience when we really do want to listen to everyone. Unlike other faith traditions, Unitarian Universalism is not set in a particular dogma. Ours is a living tradition open to the wisdom of every generation. Therefore, every generation evolves its understanding of how our faith needs to be articulated. The Article 2 committee, in examining the feedback they received, made this comment. As we proceeded, we saw patterns emerging fairly quickly in group after group, setting after setting. We were getting a range of answers, but with definite areas of commonality and overlap. It then fell to us to discern the collective spiritual truths within them and translate that into writing. The challenge was to be both broadly inclusive, but also discerning of prophetic moments of insight, both in our own and others' responses. What was clear to us was that both strands, the representative and the individual, called for change. In this process of reviewing and adapting Article 2, we've chosen to focus on Unitarian Universalist values. We not only need our principles, but we need to be clear about the values that guide us. Thanks to Jack Pig this morning, you have now been introduced to our own mnemonic device to easily remember the values that you use hold as sacred. Next week, there'll be a test on this. It's Mother's Day. My early concern about the changes in Article 2 was that it left out our principles and sources, which are dear to all of us. I wasn't the only person who had these concerns. The committee heard those concerns, and a wide variety of comments and amendments offered during the input process now alleviate many of the worries folks like me had initially. If approved by our General Assembly in June by a 2/3 majority, we will now have principles, purposes, and values that are clearly articulated. Our principles have, over many years, expressed a shared ethic and imply a certain theology, one that values the individual growth, the natural world, and diversity, but they don't name these values explicitly, nor do they name many other values important to us collectively. Our principles also give no guidance on how we might approach living out these values in our congregations in the world. Our principles are a covenant, but the only actions they ask of congregations are to affirm and promote certain concepts. We believe we should expect more from a covenant. As one member put it, we need more verbs. For some, the current principles also serve as a theological statement, a personal code of ethics, and a way for the UUA to explain to people who we are. For these reasons, the Article 2 committee felt our faith would be better served by a structure in which we articulate our shared values and then use these values as the ground for aspirational statements of action. As we have seen earlier, 7 single-word values, each with a short explanation, are easier to remember and use as touchstones in our conversations, in congregational governance, and in educational settings. Another of my concerns has been to always honor the diversity of belief within our congregations. The rewriting addresses these, and they call them inspirations. Many other UUs also value our current list of sources, and nothing in what is proposed contradicts this list. The Article 2 committee felt a better use of the bylaws would be to articulate what our inspirations do and how we should approach our sources of inspiration. The proposed wording ties the inspirations explicitly to our values and to the practices of cultural respect. Now, throughout this process, the committee was guided by the understanding that ours is a living tradition. As James Luther Adams said, a living tradition is not bequeathed through some law of inheritance. It must be earned, not without dust and heat, and not without humbling grace. A living faith evolves. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation and throughout our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage that is built on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. So David, I'd like to see if you can pop up our little value flower. Thank you. Okay, so here's our chalice in the middle with love. And we begin with our values of interdependence, meaning we honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism is down at the bottom. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another, and we embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice, we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. We also understand that change is fundamental to our faith. It's never complete and never perfect. We are always evolving. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. As Unitarian Universalists, we're inspired by sacred and secular understandings that help us to live into our values. We respect the histories, contexts, and cultures in which they were created and are currently practiced. These inspirations and sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times. Grateful for the religious ancestries we inherit and the diversity which enriches our faith, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom. Inclusion is also a core part of our faith. Systems of power, privilege, and oppression have traditionally created barriers for persons and groups with particular identities, ages, abilities, and histories. As UUs, we pledge to replace such barriers with ever-widening circles of solidarity and mutual respect. Congregational freedom and the individual's right of conscience are central to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Congregations may establish statements of purpose. We have our mission statement, covenants, bonds of union, but our congregations may not require that members adhere to a particular belief. The committee made this statement about their work. We have been humbled by the grace extended to us by all those who participated in our process. In our work, we sought to honor the work of those ancestors who came before and to envision all of us Unitarian Universalists as good ancestors to those who follow us in the future. We hope this revision nurtures that living tradition so that it continues to flourish, and look forward to that future time when another commission takes up this work to make it speak for their age. The co-chair of the committee, the Reverend Cheryl Walker, added this statement: "I have one more hope, that in 20 years, some other group does this again. We are not writing a creed. We are not etching in stone. We are writing in pencil. And we hope that in 20 to 30 years, as the world has changed again, and there are things we need to say that we did not say this time, that someone changes it again so that we are a living tradition, not one that is stagnant. If we are not changing, we are not living." In that spirit, I invite us to rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 300 with heart and mind. We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And it's that time to say goodbye to one another. Bye, Zoomies. Bye, roomies. It's been great to be together. Our final words of benediction and blessing are from T.S. Eliot. What we call a beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Blessed be. Thank you. Go in peace and go in love.